So today we're talking about how to not get scammed in the Pokemon world. Whether you're a vendor, you have a website, you're just buying stuff, you're buying off of Facebook, you're buying at shows, whatever it might be. Your kids collect Pokemon, whatever it might be. We're going to kind of touch upon all of those things. And you might ask, well, what qualifies me to talk about this? I own MaxPacks.com here in Burlington, North Carolina. We're a five-figure business, as you can see, and I vend at local shows, and I've been scammed multiple times in multiple different ways, some of which we'll talk about here. So first, just general rule of thumb, always pay with PayPal goods and services if it's being shipped, or Venmo goods and services. A lot of people will say that Venmo's not as good. PayPal owns Venmo. I've never had an issue with either one of them. And I have been scammed in the past, and I've used PayPal and I've used Venmo, and I've got my money back no problem. So both, in my opinion, are good payment methods. Just make sure you have the goods and services checked on, unless it's a in-person deal, you know what you're getting, or you've already established this person's trustworthy, whatever it is, because there is a 3%, I think it's 3.2% sales transaction fee, whatever you want to call it. So the seller pays that, the buyer does not. A lot of times the seller will ask the buyer to add the fee to that. You see that when you order stuff from Japan. And I've personally never had any issues ordering from Japan. I know there's a lot of people that have, whether they're somebody posing as a Japanese supplier or not. I've never had that issue. I've always paid PayPal with my first order with them, I think, except for the last person I've used. And I've never had an issue, and then I just go straight to doing wire transfers or bank transfers or whatever you want to call it, ACHs, Ys essentially. And I've never had a problem at all. Sometimes communication's a little wonky just because of time differences, but yeah, that's it. Always make sure you pay with PayPal goods and services or Venmo goods and services, as long as they have a goods and services. Number two, you can kind of tell just by talking to people, the first couple messages they say, and if they're not willing to accept any of those payment methods, or if you offer to cover the fee and they still say no, they're probably a scammer. Don't even bother wasting your time. And what do I mean by usually you can tell by just messaging them? I've had somebody tell me they're in Maryland and then give me their PayPal and trying to send me money in euros or something like that. And I'm like, what? This doesn't make any sense. Turns out they're a scammer. So just, it's kind of hard. It's kind of easy to tell when it's something like that. Like, that's blatantly obvious. Some people will do coined, which is just like your name and date on a piece of paper with it, and they're photoshopped, and Photoshop's getting pretty good. That's getting harder to tell. Also, if it's too good to be true, a lot of times it is. Again, recently, what I just talked about with them saying they're in Maryland and doing euros, I just had that happen to me, and the price was too good to be true. They had like Blooming Waters for like $120 or something like that. So obviously that's too good to be true, and it was. Sometimes I just like to take that risk because sometimes it works out. A lot of times it doesn't. And that time I paid with PayPal, so I was all good. Takes some time to get your money back, but I got it back. So again, we're all good. My next thing would be know what you're buying. Know if the card's supposed to be textured, if it's not supposed to be textured. Know like print errors for the card. Sometimes, that's kind of a rarity. A lot of the more vintage cards will have some sort of errors where I believe it's Jungle's missing, or maybe it's I think it's Jungle. They have a no set stamp error, and just some other stuff like that. And usually that stuff I don't touch with because you don't see it that often. A lot of times it's hard to comp. A lot of times it's hard to get a good price for. A lot of times other people don't know about it. So if I have to inform the buyer, like, what's the point? That I try to avoid things where I have to inform the buyer what the error is or what it is, etc. And it's just one of those things that I don't deal with a whole lot. So I kind of stick to the side. But just know what you're buying. Know that, if it's a Pokemon booster box, it needs to have the copyright on the wrap. If it doesn't have the copyright on the wrap, odds are probably not real. I mean, I'd say 100% not real. There's some other ways, but that's the easiest one. If wrapping looks fishy on some boxes, odds are you're going to want to stay away, especially if you're going to resell it later. People are going to bring up the same concerns that you are and either request a big discount or they're just going to pass in general. I've had that talk with multiple people before, and I've had stuff that seemed a little fishy, and I was like, well, maybe I take the risk. No, just don't even bother. It's not worth it. So really just know what you're buying and know what the card's supposed to be. If it looks different, if it's off, the coloring's off, the font's off, the sizing of the font's off, the wording's off, etc., just stay away. You'll find another one. Trust me, nothing is that rare in Pokemon, TCG, whatever you want to call it. Nothing is that rare. You will find it again. Unless it's like a PSA 10 Pop 1. Then, maybe not. But that brings me to the next one. Same thing with slabs, PSA slabs. People fake those, and again, know what you're buying, know what shows that a PSA slab is fake. You can look at the G in the PSA 10 when it says Gem Mint. You can look at the Gs. The slabs, a lot of the fake slabs, you can literally just open up. There's no like plastic weld or whatever they do to actually seal the two pieces together. There's none of that. You can literally just open it up and pull the card right out. I've bought a fake slab like that before. That's how I know. And then the like reflectiveness on the back doesn't look right, or it's the PSA doesn't look right, and then the little like gray box with PSA in blue letters, that doesn't look right either. Again, just know what you're buying. Lastly, well, if you own a store like I do, make sure you do your due diligence. So you don't have to do this with everyone, just if something looks fishy, investigate. And this actually saved me in the past. Thankfully, people have put videos out on stuff like this. So I literally was watching Brian from PokemonCards videos on scams and stuff right before this happened. So I was like, oh, it clicked. My second or third order on my website, some dude just bought out the entire website, and he did it over the course of like 3 orders. And I was like, why would you do that? I have a flat rate shipping. You could just put all of that in one order. So I'm like, okay, maybe they messaged me. Wait a couple hours, no message. I was like, okay, weird. So then I start looking at their information. The billing address and the shipping address don't match. So okay, now I'm looking up the billing address. Now I'm looking at the shipping address. And I can't remember exactly what it was. I don't know if the billing address was a business, but the shipping address was like a random house or like an apartment or something like that. Like it really didn't make sense to me. So I was like, okay, send them an email. Hey, do you want me to combine these orders? I can give you free shipping, whatever, blah, 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 blah. No response. Okay. Well, maybe they don't check their email. I'm trying to give them credit for stuff. Like I'm trying to do that. And honestly, I shouldn't have right there. I should have been like, nah, cancel it. But looking at it more, I was like, okay, well, he left me a phone number. So I called the phone number. And yeah, you could say that's crazy, but this is multiple thousands of dollars as my third order. Like that's my whole inventory, that's substantial. So what I ended up doing, I called them and no answer, not even an answering machine or a voicemail or whatever, nothing. So I was like, yeah, screw this is fake, cancel the orders. And again, if it was real, he would have emailed me or whatever, filled out a contact us form, and it's like, hey, why'd you cancel my order? Nothing. And then I got messages from Wix that were like, oh yeah, there's suspicious activity with this payment or whatever. I was like, well, I already canceled it, so it really doesn't matter, does it? But my intuition was correct. I'm glad I had, did my due diligence and didn't ship all this product, because they probably would have said the credit card was stolen or a chargeback or whatever the heck it would have been, and then I would have been out all of that thousands of dollars plus the credit card processing fee, plus it's like a $20 chargeback fee, plus I was out of the product. So it's a loss all the way around. So I got very lucky with that, doing my due diligence. Make sure you check your cards, make sure you check your sealed stuff, and be smart. Do your due diligence on people. If they're in groups, Discord groups, Facebook groups, I don't know, do they have Instagram groups, whatever. Make sure you do your due diligence on people. Make sure, if they say they own a shop, look at the shop, make sure it's a real shop, whatever it is. Look at Google Maps. Ask for references, vouchers, etc. And just do your best not to be scammed. There's a lot of dirtbags out there. And, one more. Resealed packs. Like, this is a big thing why people don't buy loose packs a whole lot, is because you can reseal packs. You're looking for glue, you're looking for any real evidence of tampering. You can find that the crimp on the tops and bottoms, sometimes there's like holes in those. And I don't want to say every time I had a pack like that, but almost every time I've had a pack like that, it was resealed. And that was from Amazon way back when Amazon allowed returns on Pokemon cards. I got a bunch of stuff in, I cracked open all these Fusion Strike packs, and they didn't have 10 cards per pack. Some of them had 11, some of them had 9, some had 12. Some didn't even have Fusion Strike cards in them. None of them had a hit. I was like, yo, nothing, not even a V, nothing. So pretty obvious that they were resealed. And then, sometimes it's hard to tell, it really is. But if it's fishy, odds are it's fake. That's why if you're gonna buy loose packs, you only buy loose packs from a trustworthy source. But yeah, hopefully you guys learned something from the video. If you did, smash that subscribe button. Drop me a comment below. Have you ever been scammed? If you have, did you get your money back? How'd you go about it? Tell me your stories. I'll love to have a chit chat with you in the comments. And head on over to my website, maxpacks.com, and get yourself some booster boxes. See you guys on the next video.